welcome. I'm Angelo, Mena, and in this segment we're going to be looking at housing and energy efficiency. To tell us more about this, we're going to be speaking with Don Freeman. Don works for the South Australian Government and is the General Manager of Building Policy. So to get things started, Don, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm both an architect and an engineer by training. Started out in private enterprise. Then I moved and was with the Adelaide City Council for about 17 years before making the move into the government building policy area about 8 years ago. In that area I'm responsible for looking after building codes and standards that are applicable both in this state and nationally.
So can you tell us what's happening with housing and energy efficiency?
Yes, as from the 1st of September of this year, it's been mandatory for all new housing applications to have a 6-star energy rating. That's a significant increase from the previous 5-star level that we have had up to this point. It is important though that there is one important concession to that, and that is that transportable houses for the time being do have a concession that allows them to only have a 5-star rating up until May next year, and that's because of some of the particular difficulties that that segment of the industry has in meeting 6 stars. It is harder for them to meet 6 stars than a traditional house where you have a concrete slab.
Okay. You say that there's a significant difference between the 5 and 6 stars. What is the difference? Up until now, with 4 and 5-star energy efficiency, it's been largely possible to achieve that just by adding some extra insulation into the standard house where you have a concrete slab. So it's been relatively easy with some extra insulation to meet the star rating. Once we go to 6-star, it really becomes important that the design is appropriate for the block and for the orientation. Okay.
So just adding more insulation now won't necessarily get you over the line for a 6-star rating.
Okay. All right. So if, for example, you've got a house that's facing west, so
yes,
the sun comes over, and by 3 o'clock the sun's coming right through the living room, this is something that we'd be shying away from now?
You would certainly need to pay a lot more in order, if you are fixed on having those big glass windows facing due west, you may need to go to double glazing to actually achieve 6-star.
Yep.
Because it becomes really difficult to control the heat load.
Okay.
So that's where people will need to make some choices about what they really want to achieve. If they are fixed on having a certain view, then they may need to be prepared to pay some extra to achieve their 6-star rating. But if they are really interested in minimising the cost and having a comfortable home to live in, then they can do that by having a good design where all the main living areas and all the big glass areas are facing due north.
Yep. So I guess from a developer's point of view, now more than ever, it becomes more important in choosing, I guess, the blocks that they're going to be using to develop on.
Very much so. And we have produced a guide for land subdivision, and it also provides information for people when they're looking at buying a block, on how they might configure a house to fit on that block. Now there are some blocks where it is going to be really difficult to fit a standard project home on, and one that will readily meet energy efficiency requirements. They might still be able to do that, but they might need to get an architect or a building designer to design their home for them, to make sure that they can achieve the energy rating requirements for that particular block. But if we're talking standard project homes, then you need to look very carefully about, with the block that you're looking at buying, and how you might place that standard project home on the block.
because it will significantly influence how much you are going to pay to meet the energy efficiency requirements. And look, there are houses now, even under the old 5-star requirement, we know met 6 stars. And they met 6 stars simply because they're standard project homes, good design, well placed on blocks, and they met 6 stars. With going to 6 stars as a mandatory requirement, it means that there will be more attention or need to be paid to those designs and fitting them onto a good block that allows you to have them with the right orientation.
Okay. Now, just before off camera, we were talking about the other states as well. Now, this is mandatory that all states actually move to 6-star now?
It is. It's part of a national agreement. All of the state and territory governments and the Commonwealth have agreed to a national strategy for energy efficiency. As one of the first steps in improving energy efficiency has been an increase in both domestic construction and commercial construction requirements. So for housing, there's agreement to increase to 6 stars and to increase to 6 stars by May 2011. So a number of states have already made the move to 6 stars, and that includes South Australia.